Another thing I talked about before, what I just want to explain, are the new skill effects that we will be getting in the game. That was a misclick. First up, already talked about it before. We will get elemental buffs. First one should probably be Snow Cecily, as far as I remember. Again, a tier 1 will simply be a 10% damage increase. I don't have the exact numbers for tier 2 and 3 out there, but at the beginning there will only be tier 1 elemental damage boost. Even Cecily only applies a tier 1 elemental damage boost. The only unit that actually gets a tier 2 elemental damage boost was, I think, Erika even. Not sure. Maybe even Erika was just a tier 1. Like, tier 2s are really rare. The only tier 3 we so far had was actually on Fes Iris for both normal and light damage. Second effect, I already showed it before, is the Gauge Consumption skill. The first unit in global that should get that should be Komekko. With a second skill, yeah, there. So again, you need like 50% Gauge, I think it consumes. Maybe it's just 40, I'm not 100% sure on the numbers here, but it will pretty much just double your damage most of the time. So in case here, instead of 205%, it will be a 411%. So a little bit more than double the damage, but yeah, it's really good damage-wise. They exist also, again, as talked before, with, for example, Raphtalia Aqua, where they use Gauge to actually trigger special conditions. So in that case here, only if you have enough Gauge, the CDR part will trigger and be used. That's really interesting. And the last thing, last new skill that should come in this year are counters. And the first unit that actually has the counter is kind of sad because it's Albedo, our welfare from the Overlord collab. She has her counter on her ulti. And yeah, the counter is a nice to have feature, unless it's on Kuroko, because Kuroko is one special. I explained it in my other part videos of the series. They normally just are neutral damage back to the enemy by a small amount, and there's like not many good units that can actually use it. Like, Kuroko is probably one of the best counter units we have. The second best one is, or maybe even the best one, is actually a Darkness, and it's Bofuri Darkness. Because she has a counter as a skill, with also CDR and also Gauge up, so really good support Darkness. And if you combine that with her ulti 1 version 2, for example, she can buff, she can bring Gauge up, she can bring CDR, and if you get hit, it doesn't matter, because you will deal damage back to the enemies. And also, this removes the weak point of Darkness with, like, she can't hit, she can't deal damage, because the counter alone will carry her somewhat, so she at least does decent damage, which works out really well. It's really interesting to see, especially if you boost like your normal damage from Darkness with Kazuma. It's actually pretty fun to use that. I actually have a video out there on my YouTube channel where I use her, so if you want to check it out, do that. It's really fun. One more thing that I also talked about before, or teased a lot about, is Arena will change in 2 regards. First up, at one point, every non-effective damage, every non-effective damage will be lowered or resisted. So, for example, if the enemy is, like in that case, weak to fire damage, if you use water damage, it will be resisted. If you use wind damage, it will be resisted. If you use dark or light damage, it will be resisted. The only element that never gets resisted is neutral, and of course the enemy, the element the enemy is weak against, in that case, fire. This will be the death of ReZero Megu kinda, because explosion damage will be reduced most of the time, so it's like not that valuable or good. Even if it's crits, it's like not that much damage. So that's a pretty big change that you need to keep an eye out, because this will actually change up a lot. The second thing is, at one point, I'm not sure when exactly, bosses will start to have some kind of new special buff. Even this one has it. Maybe I can show it real quick if I just go into practice and go full auto. As you can see, the boss now uses a skill, and you see a new debuff or like buff on him. this buff means that every magic damage will be resisted. So in that case, if we use Megumin Explosion, look at the two front units, the two small ones, you see 39k versus 12k. So this is just like all your magic attack skills now will deal 1/3 of this damage. This is what I reference to when I say Mage Cuck or Fizz Cuck. Not that they actually cast some debuff that lowers your attack or a buff that increases their resistance or defense. This is a special buff, and if the boss has that, it pretty much makes the other element, or like the other attack type, do no damage, kind of. Like, you still see it was still 12k, was still decent, but like, compared to other skills and other stuff, it's just not worth to run this. So also keep in mind that for that, there's a really cool bot in my Discord or the unofficial Discord where you can see what the boss does. There should be this kind of stuff in there, known as... let me double check. Yeah, we have a point that's called like resistances, and there should be a new point then with like magical resistance or magic attack resistance and physical attack resistance. It would also be in their turn description, of course. So if you want info on that, maybe check out this one. Otherwise, of course, the official image from next one should also include that kind of information, hopefully. But yeah, with that point, it kind of limits your team building, because if one of these kind of buffs exists in the buff, you are forced to run pure physical or pure magical. If there's nothing, you can go hybrid, of course. The last one is this thing here. Special rewards on your highest score per element. This also counts as a kind of history archive where you can see which arena you did which much damage. So for example, if we go to wind, I can see, oh cool, I used this wind team on this boss with this assist, this team passive trait, and did 15.576 million damage as my highest damage in one run. Or like if I go to water, I see, oh cool, it was the hybrid team where you can run water and earth. And that's the best team around there. That was my high score. Cool. See, everyone thinks the same. So you have kind of a history there, which is really cool, which was your strongest team per element. And you see there's the left button that's already checked off, but you will get bonus rewards for different milestones. So there are, again, this counts as the highest run, so not like total score over the week, but just the highest run you had at all in this element will be this one here. And depending on height, you get different rewards. The lower ones are easy tiers to reach, and they give like 5-pull tickets or multiple 5-pull tickets, maybe some quads, a few banners that you can display and stuff like that. So some nice bonuses, but not too crazy. The bigger ones are probably like the 7 million score, 8 million score, and 10 million score, I think. Like 10 million is the max. With 10 million you get the last one, which is a banner. And the one before that, I think 9 million is, you will get free earring crystals, and 7 million is like free weapon crystals. So these are probably the more look forward rewards here. Even as a free-to-play, you will eventually reach these ranks with just how strong the units get over the time, but especially at the beginning, like getting a really good run where it actually gets you the next milestone, get the reward at the end of the arena and stuff like that is really, really rewarding and a really cool idea. Sadly, it only goes to 10 million, and right now it's whatever. This feature doesn't do anything for me, but at the beginning it was actually pretty cool. Okay, last point of this long guide should be side quests. You can see there's a new point up here for side quests. At the moment, I don't have any side quests here, but there are 3 different types of side quests, or like maybe even more depending on what happens. So the first one is cabbage collection. It's actually a really interesting one where you need to hunt cabbages. There are different rarity cabbages, from low to normal to rare, and rare are golden cabbages, and depending on their rarity, they have more HP, but like not a weird HP number, but they have specific hit points, and different skills deal different damage. So for example, AOE skills normally deal 1 damage on every unit, AOE ulti skills will deal 2 damage, single target skill will always deal 2 damage, ultis will deal like 6 damage, and it's actually fun because you get some bonus rewards like general shots, adventure shots is the right word, sorry, Nyamblats, orbs, DNA, stuff like that. Also, always cabbage food, so you get some bond food out of it, which is kind of cool. It's actually really fun, and especially the team building there is really cool because you can, for example, use a counter and wait for the enemies to hit you to knock themselves out, so you can then clear the next wave when it comes in ASAP to use less time. Or you can go with an ulti spam comp to just spam as much AOE ultis as possible to hopefully clear the wave as fast as possible. Or whatever, there are like different teams. The only general tip I can give you is CDR is good, Gotchap is good, and some form of AOE is probably normally good. Like for the golden cabbages, you probably also want some single target. For example, I use Vanir OG, I use Casualia for the counter, and I also use Fes Iris for the speed boost. So hopefully every unit can attack often. I have Vanir ulti and single target skills of my characters to clear off the enemies. I have Vanir's AoE skill and Chris and Leah's ultis to do damage. Buffs and debuffs do nothing there, besides slowing the enemies, that still works. But like, even with a tier 3 attack buff and elemental buff, you still just deal the same amount of damage, so it's actually kind of weird. You also can get high scores and stuff like that. It's a fun side thing to do. You unlock these randomly over the day by just doing everything like collect rewards from your daily missions, do a round of event or something like that. After pretty much everything, you have a chance to unlock one of these. The second one at the beginning will be Megumin's Daily Explosion. So one you already know from the 1.25 Anni event thing, where you choose one of the 4 options, and depending on what you, well, on your daily luck, more like, it's not depending on what you pick, but you will get between 60 and 120 points. 60 is like a few skip tickets, 71 is Rainbow Chalric, 80 is 2 stamina beef, 90 is a Nyamblood, 100 is 100 quartz, and 120 points is 300 quartz. So you actually can get quartz out of that. So that's really cool. But then again, it's random, so you can go weeks without any quartz. And some rewards are more important than others. So for example, Nyambloods will reach a point where you don't need them anymore. So I personally in JP wish to get more of the stamina beef. But I have a feeling I am really good at hitting the 90 points, which is kind of sad for me. But yeah, like 100, 120 quartz is good, 80, 90 is good. Everything below that is kind of sad, not gonna lie. Later down the line, we get also Vanir's Treasure. I don't know the official translation. There will be like 2 dialogue options to choose from. There will be 4 dialogue options in total, and depending on what you choose, you can get the low rarity drop or the high rarity drop. So, for example, one drop is the more likely drop for one dialogue option can be, for example, like a little bit of Mora and one of these trial discs, for example, and the rare reward for that dialogue option would be a skill potion. But the other one is like you can get normal cabbage or you can get fried frog legs as the rare drop. The other one is skip tickets or rainbow calories or something like that. It's weird, but normally like there's a tier list kind of with options you should always choose. I have the 4 options for GP in mind. The moment this comes to global, I will give you the proper options there to choose from. But yeah, I normally go with, if it's there, the option that has a chance to give me a skill potion. After that, it's pretty much whatever, but I think I mostly go with the bond food one if it's there. After that, it's kind of whatever, because the red drop is an Youngblood, I think, but the other option which is good. Otherwise, you just get like 1 million Iris, which is kind of whatever, and the other is just, as I said, skip tickets or Rainbow Cleric, which I don't need at all. So this is probably the lowest rarity one. But yeah, it's a nice thing to give you something to do more, but you don't need to, because the rewards are not that crazy, besides maybe the explosion one. But having that option to do stuff there is really, really cool. And yeah, that should summarize all the new system changes that come this year. It's a lot, but keep in mind, this is for a whole year. So it's good that over the next year a lot of stuff is coming. This keeps the game fresh and entertainment. once this stuff actually drops, everything, I'll probably make a new small video where I talk about it again, explain it. Same with like all the other banners. I try to make videos about them, especially like the collab events and stuff, like summary, what they will look like, what you should get, stuff like that. I try to do that more because I think people enjoy this a lot. But yeah, if you have any wishes for other guides or videos, let me know in the comments below. I'm always open for new ideas and stuff if you're interested in. Let me know if you guys want me to do banner rundowns, stuff like that, if you think that's a good idea, or if you're like, oh, there other people already do it, we don't need it like a third time. I'm down to feedback, I'm down to doing what you guys want, because I'm doing these videos for you all. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope this stuff helps you out. I hope it's good enough explained and not too much stuttering around. And wish you all a nice day, and see you all next time. Until then, bye-bye.